To build your own killer offense in Madden 25, you got to know how to beat the most common and popular defenses you'll face online. So in this video, I'm dropping a full offensive guide that covers everything from essential pass protection to deep bombs to pro level route combos that actually work. I'll even give you 5 secret techniques that can take any offense from average to unstoppable. And just like a real drive, we're finishing it off with red zone offense, so you can cash in when it counts. The first thing we're going to cover is pass protection against the popular loop and engage meta. But before I show that, it's important we understand exactly how these defenses work. The most common version you'll see online is based out of the cover 4 quarters. And the way people run it is they have their auto alignment to base and their auto flip off. And what you're going to see though is they'll actually come out in double safety go, which will bring the safeties down into the box, and then they'll audible to cover 4 quarters. Then they're always going to be grabbing the right of screen linebacker and then pulling him over to the left of screen, so where the left of screen inside linebacker is. And then they'll usually make one final adjustment just to get rid of the match. They'll press triangle or Y and then down on the right stick and shade underneath. So it's essentially a cover 4 drop with hard flats. And they're going to sit right about here with their user. You're going to see why that's important soon. But what normally happens is the linebacker will just loop around the guard. The guard won't even touch him, and they just get 4 versus 5 heat. They're only sending 4 players, and they get this looping player in completely clean. The other advanced version that you'll see people run is instead of audibling to cover 4 quarters from double safety go, they're going to audible to cover 4 drop. And it's going to look exactly the same. They're going to grab the right side linebacker and move him over to where the left side linebacker is, but in this case, they're going to blitz him like so. And then they're still going to use the inside linebacker in the exact same spot that they were using the inside linebacker for the loop blitz. And then just like the cover 4 quarters, you can leave the curl flats on, but the majority of the time your opponents will be using hard flats and shading underneath. The only difference here is with cover 4 quarters, they're able to just sprint out and do whatever they want. But in this blitz, it's actually an engage blitz, which means I'm going to engage with the guard. And what you're going to see happens is when you engage with this guard, the linebacker behind him comes in completely clean. And just like before, they're sending 4 versus 5 people blocking and coming in. Now, some advanced players will also set it up the exact same way, but because you're engaging in this blitz, you'll also usually be able to zone out the defensive tackle. So if they zone out the defensive tackle, that makes this blitz even better because now you're only sending, or your opponent's only sending 3 people, and it's coming in against 5 blockers. To block the loop version of this blitz from cover 4 quarters that looks something like this, there is one very foolproof way, and there's another way that is like 99% consistent, but you'll see why it's a little bit better. So the way that I recommend if you do not have a play action play is to simply block your running back and half slide to the right. And what you could see is that the halfback icon is now on that left side linebacker, which means the running back is responsible for blocking him. So when I snap the ball, you're going to see the running back is going to target that linebacker. Granted, the defense can shed, just like with any defense, but the main goal here is to pick up that looping blitzer. And you're going to see the running back will go and pick up that blitzer pretty much every single time. There is a secret way that you can block this without having to block your running back. So let me set it up one more time. The way that you can do this is actually called a PA play. So this is PA snag. This is probably the most common play action play you'll see people use online. And you don't even have to block your running back. I'm going to put him on a route here. I'll put my tight end on a drag, whatever. This is just a common combo. And what you're going to see is this is going to glitch out the blitz angle from the looping linebacker, and he's just going to run directly down. So when I snap the ball, you're going to see he's just going to run directly down, and we basically have enough time to throw whatever pass we want to throw. So there's 2 ways here. You can block your running back, half slide to the right, make sure the halfback icon is on that linebacker, or you just call a play action play and you can even send your running back on a route and that will just block it automatically. Unlike the loop version of this blitz, the engage blitz, you absolutely have to block your running back. Some people will say there's secret techniques where you don't have to block your running back, but if your opponent knows what he's doing, knows where to engage, you really do just have to block your running back. And the setup is the exact same one we use for the loop blitz. We're going to block our running back and half slide to the right. Once again, the running back is going to be responsible for that blitzer. And what you're going to see, even if I engage, the running back is going to pick him up. So if you want a 100% foolproof non-play action, play blocking, just block your running back and half slide to the right. All right, now for the fun part, torching defenses with one-play touchdowns. The first category of bombs we're going over are designed specifically to beat cover 4 quarters, which is the most common version of cover 4 you'll run into online. The second category of bombs is built to beat cover 4 drop, but the best part of all, there's a secret third category of bombs that can beat both of these cover 4 defenses. As I mentioned in the beginning when I explained how cover 4 quarters was run, people aren't really running it in a match variation. They're putting hard flats or curl flats on their slot corners, and this pretty much turns off match. But there are some remnants of match coverage that we get to take advantage of with our cover 4 quarters specific bombs. So right now I'm in bunch spread nasty, and this concept will work in any bunch set, and I'll also show you how it can work in trip sets. And what we're gonna do is take advantage of the wide side safety in an inside quarter. Because what you're gonna see is if you put a streak on your outermost receiver, this has to be a compressed set for this specific setup. I'll show you the other setup otherwise. And a post route on your innermost receiver, and then your other receivers, it really doesn't matter. You can put them both on drags if you want checkdowns, really doesn't matter. What you're going to see is that the post is going to pull inside the quarter and then leave this route, even a slow tight end like Kincaid, who's like 85 speed, will be wide open for a gigantic gain. Because what happens here is you'll see this inside quarter is going to see the post, and it looks like he's playing his responsibility, and then he's just very late in the play gonna cut onto the post. He hesitates and then will leave that wide open. And that's pretty much as covered as it'll look because that is an 86 speed tight end with the route, running that route there. The other way that people like to do it is they like to do it out of trip sets because it's arguably, not really arguably, it is way more wide open and it's really easy to set up. You can quick hike it. So let's assume they set up their matchless cover 4 quarters, they can do their loop, whatever it may be, right? They have their hard flats on. I like verticals from this because of the unique route from the middle receiver in the trips, but you can just put them on a streak, it doesn't really matter. I like to block my running back just for extra time, but you're just gonna put a post on the innermost trips receiver. That's really all you have to do. And what you're gonna see is the same thing is going to happen. That safety is going to pull inside, and he's gonna leave the streak above him for a wide open touchdown. So that's how you can bomb cover 4 quarters really easily. If you see they're in the loop blitz like that, they're in cover 4 quarters and you could bomb them for easy one-play scores. To bomb cover 4 drop defenses that look kind of like this, all you really need is to have a receiver outside the numbers, so basically an outside receiver on the short side of the field, and the ability to put a post on a receiver on the wide side of the field. I'm gonna play motion angle Y wheel, and I'm gonna discuss it a couple more times throughout this video because this play has one of those really fast post routes, or rather crossing routes. Just a little bit better than a post, but a post does work perfectly here. I'll show both. So the way that you wanna set this up is to block your running back, streak the tight end. Now, even though the tight end you would think would only distract the left side or the wide side inside quarter, it'll actually distract both. You just have to pay attention. Then you can put triangle on pretty much any route in the game. I like to put them on a drag. Streaks can sometimes cause too much traffic back there. Curl route, same thing. So I usually just put them on a drag and then put a comeback on the outside receiver. And what you're gonna see happens is the comeback is going to pull down that outside quarter, and then the streak or the crosser is going to, rather the post or the crosser, my apologies, is going to bypass that inside quarter. So what you're gonna see, we'll go to really this key part of the field, is that the outside quarter is going to be pulled down by the comeback route, and then this inside quarter that should be covering this route, at least a little longer, is going to be distracted by the tight end streak. And this crosser is going to be wide open, and it's going to be a one-play score. Now, this will only work against cover 4 drop, I will say that. But you don't necessarily need any of these super unique routes as long as you have a formation like this. I can put my square receiver on a post. If you want to be really safe, you can stem up that post one notch, so it looks like this. And set up the play the exact same way, although I love the speedy crosser. If you have it, use it. You're going to see that the post route is going to do pretty much the exact same thing. It's a little less open, but you still see that it is going to be a huge gain and a great way to beat the cover 4 drop. So this style of universal cover 4 bomb is best shown in trip style of sets, tray style of sets, and you definitely have one of these sets in your playbook. And the way to set it up is, number one, align your trips to the wide side of the field. Have a comeback on your outside receiver. I like to put a drag on your innermost receiver. You can put them on a curl, a hitch, it really doesn't matter, but I like to put them on a drag. put a streak on your innermost receiver. So drag on your middle, streak on your innermost, and put a post on your tight end. Now I like to block my running back just for extra time. And you're gonna see we're going against a cover 4 drop. And what's gonna happen is kind of like the last bomb we explained, where the comeback on the left side of the field is gonna pull down the outside quarter and then leave a post above it wide open for a huge gain or a touchdown. Now that was versus cover 4 drop, and you're gonna see this also works the exact same way against a cover 4 quarters. And what you're going to see is that streak is gonna distract the inside quarter, and once again, the post is going to be a wide open touchdown. If you're like me with that last bomb, you're gonna be like, well, that kind of did take a while. I'll be able to use that a little bit, but if I get shedded, I won't have time for it. So I'm gonna show you an even quicker version of the same bomb and attacking the same part of the field. So the way that we're gonna do this is from a compressed set. Once again, a bunch set is great for this. I know bunch, but bunch sets are great for this. The way that we can set this up is to put a streak on the innermost receiver, an out route on the outermost receiver, stem up that out route 3 notches with the D-pad, and then put a corner route on the middle receiver and stem up the corner route 3 notches with the D-pad. Now it doesn't really matter what you put on the back side of the field. I like to block my running back and put a drag, but the route combo looks something like this. And what's gonna happen here is the out route is gonna pull down the outside quarter on the left, the streak is gonna hold the inside quarter, and you're gonna see exactly what you expect to see. That corner route is going to be open for a touchdown, right? You could see wide open touchdown, and it's super easy. And that's versus cover 4 drop. Now versus cover 4 quarters, it's basically the same. You're going to see when I snap the ball after I set it up, you're going to see that the corner route is once again a wide open touchdown. I'd even argue it's more open versus cover 4 quarters. Once again, the logic is that the out route over here stemmed up 3 notches, pulls this guy down, the streak holds the inside quarter, and then instead of a post route, it's a corner route, which is pretty much quicker, and it's usually on a receiver, is going to be a wide open touchdown. So that's another great universal cover 4 bomb that you can use. Now that we've covered how to bomb cover 4, let's break down the pro route combos you need to consistently move the chains against the meta defense. And as a reminder, the popular / meta defense we're talking about is a heavy box alignment with cover 4 drop, shaded underneath, 1 blitzer, and an aggressive switch stick. One of the best route combos you can run is the Zig Flat. It isolates the user and is usually wide open for easy gains. To set it up, place a zig route on your slot receiver or tight end and a flat or out route on the receiver outside of him. This works because the flat drags away outside zones, leaving the zig completely uncovered unless the user commits to it. This combo works in nearly every formation. It's one of the most reliable quick reads in the game. Next up is the speed out, a simple route that's incredibly hard to defend in the meta. You just need an outside receiver. Put him on a speed out, stem him up 2 times, and as soon as he breaks, throw it with a down and outside pass lead. To work the middle of the field, use return routes to horizontally stress the user. You could find them in plays like motion slot choice and tight way off, corner divide and bunch spread forms, or any sort of smash return in various bunch sets. There's many different ways to set up this route combo. You can have it go post, drag, return route, or even have a drag route coming over the middle with the return route behind it. The return route will almost always be open in the soft spot in the zone, and if it isn't, you can expect the drag to be open, and depending on your route combo, the post route as well. Another combo you'll definitely want to use is the street corner flat. To set it up, align 3 receivers to the wide side of the field, put the tight end on a streak, put the slot receiver on a corner, and the outside receiver on a flat or out route. This setup pulls defenders away from the corner route, the streak clears the deep zones, the flat pulls out the underneath defenders, and the corner cuts in between for an easy throw. If the corner is taken away, you will still have the streak in the seam or the flat underneath as safety options. The concept works in every formation and gives you answers for almost any zone coverage. It's a must-have in your offense. The next concept I'm going to be showing is the zig comeback concept. On this play, the zig will pull the hard flat down, allowing you to throw the comeback right over it and under the quarter. The last concept I highly recommend you use is the stemmed up slot curl route. Most linebackers will be distracted with the other routes on the field, while the stemmed up curl appears to be a streak as early as possible in the play. But as soon as they turn around, it's an easy read underneath the inside quarters. Before I break down my 4 secret techniques and some elite red zone concepts, make sure to check out victoryformation.gg, your one-stop shop to dominate in Madden 25 and CFB 25. With your membership, you unlock access to over 100 game-changing videos, exclusive breakdowns, and full game plans designed to give you the edge every time you hit the field. So if you're ready to take your skills to the next level like thousands of players already have, click the link below or scan the QR code to start winning today. Alright, now let's get into the 5 secret techniques that absolutely shred the meta defense used online. Secret technique number 1 is the drag pull-in trick, where a drag from an outside receiver pulls the hard flat inward, creating a perfect lane for a short corner or out route above it. This is most commonly used in the plays motion angle Y wheel in normal Y off close because of the speed out route from the slot, as well as motion angle Y wheel in doubles flex Y off close because of the short corner from the slot receiver, but can be used in almost any spread or double set. Now this secret technique is really easy to set up. I'm in motion angle Y wheel. As I mentioned, I'm in doubles flex Y off close here. And what I'm going to do is just put a drag on the outside receiver. And what you're going to see happens is that the hard flat that many people will use in cover 4 drop, cover 4 quarters, whatever it may be, will be pulled inside, allowing you to throw the corner route right beneath the outside quarter. Now you're probably like, okay, well, it's a hard flat. Wouldn't it get over it anyway? And the answer is no, right? What's going to happen is if I put a streak on this outside receiver, you're going to actually see the hard flat is going to be in the perfect place to go make a play on the ball when I throw that corner route. But as soon as we put a drag route on the outside receiver, that's when the hard flat gets pulled inwards and you're able to throw the corner route for an easy dot. So that's the drag pull-in trick. It's really simple and it'll work in basically any doubles formation as long as you have the 2 receivers on the short side of the field and one of those receivers is outside the numbers. Secret technique number 2 is using unique fade routes to open up the seams as well as bomb cover 2. These fades are most commonly used in PA verticals in bunch tight end and shock HB wheel in bunch spread nasty, but can be found in lots of different forms, so check your playbook for them. For this breakdown, I'm in shock HB wheel. Just as I mentioned, we're going to be taking advantage of the unique fade we see on the middle receiver. The main reason this is so cool, like lots of people know it beats cover 2, so I'll just break down the cover 2 part right now because it's really easy to see. If they do run a cover 2 and they have a deep half here, right, just like so, you're going to see that if I just put a streak on the X receiver, well, the deep half is going to play inside and then leave the fade a wide open touchdown. But a lot of people already know that, so that isn't huge information. It's really nice, it's really cool, but that's not the cool secret part, right? And the reason it's a secret. So let's say they run cover 4 drop, okay? If I were to just put a streak on DeAndre Hopkins and everyone else is just on regular routes, you're gonna see that if I try to throw this streak, it's going to get intercepted every single time. I just pass lead it inside and it's going to get intercepted. So that kind of sucks. And most people right now are engaged blitzing. That's probably the more advanced way to do it. So they're engaging with the line, they're busy, you know, they want to cover the stuff underneath because that's what's going to beat them. But if you leave this fade on the middle receiver, really any fade like this could be on the outside receiver as well, as long as the streak that you're going to put on is inside of him. What's going to happen is that inside quarter on the right is going to go outwards, and now suddenly the seam route is wide open, right? So it's just a secret way that you can steal easy yards if they're in cover 4 drop or cover 3 in the middle, and if they are in cover 2, you get a 1-play score to the fade. So that's really the secret part of these unique fade routes. Secret technique number 3 is a concept that breaks hard flats using short slot out routes and short corner routes. When they're paired with backside drags, zigs, or out routes, it causes the short corner / deeper out route above them to be wide open. So let me show you exactly how to do it. Number 1, I'm in the play double outs in the San Francisco playbook because it has 2 of these unique out routes. As you can see, they go about 8 yards of depth and then they cut outside. And if we're going against the meta defense, so just a cover 4 drop with hard flats or a cover 4 quarters with hard flats, you're gonna see these routes are gonna be covered. If I try to throw it, I'm asking to throw an interception and in fact a pick 6. So how are these routes that are pretty much terrible gonna help us score against the meta? Well, it's a duality. I'd love to play the Oppenheimer music, but I'd get copyrighted. So it's a duality. They're both bad routes and maybe the best routes in the game. That's part of the reason this is my favorite concept to show. And you're gonna see this literally nowhere else, which is cool. So what you're gonna see is if I actually put a zig route on my middle receiver, right? Pay attention on the wide side to what happens. The hard flat, as soon as the zig starts to cut out, is gonna pull inside and then leave this out route wide open. So we just went from getting intercepted to a pass that is so wide open that at the catch point, no one's really even within 5 yards. As you can see, as soon as the zig starts to cut up, this hard flat freezes and goes inside. Take a look at this hard flat. He's covering, then he pulls inside, and then the out route becomes wide open. Now, it's not just zig routes that this will work for. You'll be able to do it from a bunch of different routes. Let's take a look at the short side now. If I were to put a drag route on my tight end, you're going to see that this drag route is going to pull that hard flat inside. Now you're like, okay, well that just got swatted away. That kind of sucked, right? Well, you also want to pay attention to this. When you're on the short side of the field, this route may be a little bit too fast. So instead, put an out route on and then stem them up 1 notch. And I want you to pay attention to the difference here. When the hard flat gets pulled inside, the out route becomes wide open on the sideline. So on the short side of the field, you don't really want the speed out to be that fast, right? Especially if you're using the drag. But what if I told you there's another way that we can take advantage of this speed out without having to worry about a slow tight end crossing the field, well, too slowly? You can actually just put a running back streak on. So let's not focus on the left side for a moment. If you put a running back streak on, you're gonna see the running back streak is gonna pull this route inside, and now the speed out is wide open, right? So you really can, on the short side of the field, manipulate zones with running back streaks on that side of the field, of course, and drag routes crossing the field. The drag routes just have to do it fast. If you expect the drag routes to be slow, you want a slower out route, right? And then on the wide side, you just really want to use zigs. But it's not just these little speed outs. Like these speed outs can be found in lots of different formations. Like bunch spread nasty, you can see it in seam defied. Bunch X nasty, we were in double outs, of course. You can see it, it's on the left of the screen. But you can also do it with really short corner routes, and they make these routes particularly effective. So this is the play motion snag under, right? And if I were to run something like this, you're going to see that this corner route is pretty tight with the hard flat. If I try to throw it, the hard flat is going to cover it, and it does a pretty good job at guarding the flat, just like with those speed out routes. But you can imagine if I put a zig on DeAndre Hopkins on that side of the field, this route is going to pull inside, leaving the corner route wide open, right? So it works on lots of different routes. And the fun thing about the corner routes is you can also have a backside drag. So even if you have Xavier Worthy running the corner, fastest player in the game, and Travis Kelce running behind him on a drag, the drag route will actually do a pretty good job at pulling inside the flat. So you have the other option there of putting a backside drag. So by using halfback streaks, backside drags, and zig routes on the wide side of the field, you're able to really break these hard flats and give yourself some huge openings. Technique number 4 we'll call speed table abuse, where a slant from an outside receiver pulls a hard flat inside, leaving the halfback wide open for 5+ yards. You can usually find these table routes in plays with the names slants or stick in wide trips formations and spacing switch in bunch formations. Now this one's really easy to break down. Right now we're going against a cover 4 drop or cover 4 quarters, and what you're gonna see is that this slant route on the outside receiver is gonna pull the hard flat inside, leaving the running back table open for at minimum 3 to 4 yards, usually more. You're gonna see, pulls him inside, and we're able to throw this running back table and get 5 to 6 yards automatically, right? It's super easy and really, really effective. You can see the slant pulls the hard flat inside, and then since this is a speed table, not a regular table, it becomes wide open for, 5 to 6 yards. So it's a really, really effective technique that you can mix in to steal yards against the meta defense. The final technique is arguably the most overpowered, and it's instantly throwing speed outs to receivers that are lined up outside the numbers. So to do this, it's pretty simple. All we're gonna do here is just put a speed out on our outside receiver, and we're gonna throw it. And we're gonna guarantee ourselves 8 to 10 yards. Now you're like, okay, well, how did you throw it that quick? What? Wait. When I try to throw this, because I saw people do this in the MCS, I overthrow it, and I try to throw it, and then suddenly, it's out of bounds. I get an animation like this. How are you able to throw it? Well, the secret technique behind this is not pass leading, and more importantly, not even touching the left stick on the snap. If I touch the left stick, you're gonna see what happened last time I had that out of bounds. But if I don't touch the left stick and I just press circle, I make a quick read on the outside corner and press circle, it's instant. You can even rack it and get more yards if you want to. So that's really the instantly throwing speed outs technique, is you just have to make sure you do not touch the left stick and you just press circle as soon as you want to throw it, right? And it becomes a much quicker pass, and you're pretty much guaranteed to get 8 to 10 yards against the meta defense. Now it's time to finish the drive in the red zone with some elite pass concepts that will consistently get the job done. The first combo that we're going to be going over is the Zig Flat or the Zig Out route. Now, we talked about this and how good it is in the open field, but it's just as good in the red zone. The flat route is going to pull out any flat zones. The drag route is open usually as a secondary option, and if you'd like, you can have a backside post. This is actually the play motion Y corner in tight Y off, but you can even just have a backside in route. It's good in tight sets, bunch sets. You could even do this in some trip sets. You just want to have the zig as close as possible to the center, right? Or really close to the offensive line. And what you're going to see happens here is that the zig route is open, right? You're going to guarantee yourself a few yards, and you're usually, depending on how close you are, going to get into the end zone. Let's show it a couple times just so you guys see what I mean. So in this case, I'm showing this with all hot routes. I actually just have a flat on the outside receiver instead of that special out route. And you're going to see the zig is still wide open, right? It's really, really, really effective. Now, the one thing I also like to mention when I show Zig Flat concepts in general is how good it is on the short side of the field. Now, usually I don't recommend, having a bunch set or the strong part of your formation, I should say, with more receivers on the short side. With the Zig Flat, even if they shade outside and underneath, which does a decent job at covering zigs on the wide side, on the short side, it doesn't do anything. You're going to see that the zig is still open, right? And the majority of the time you're going to get into the end zone. So that's really just a secret tip that I like to talk about with the Zig Flat when I'm running it in the red zone. The next concept is the hitch crosser, and it's really, really effective, but the formations that you could do it in are very specific. You need to call a formation where you have a receiver aligned to the short side of the field, which in game you'll be able to choose, but a receiver that will align very, very close to the numbers. In this case, Xavier Worthy is very close to the numbers on the short side of the field. You're just gonna put that receiver on a hitch. Then on the other side, you can just put a slant or a short cross crossing the field above that hitch route. So I'll just put a slant here. You could even combine the Zig Flat concept on the wide side and then have the hitch crosser concept on the short side. And what's going to happen here is you're going to see the tight end slant is going to be wide open in the corner of the end zone. The reason this works is because the hitch, especially in the red zone, will hold the flat inside, allowing us to throw this route above the flat into the outside of the flat, right? Very, 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 very effective. And let's say they put cloud flats on, because a lot of people will put cloud flats on in the red zone, because what's the purpose of an outside quarter when there's so little space? Well, you're going to see that the exact same concept is going to work. The slant is going to, or the hitch is going to pull in the cloud flat, and now this crosser or slant route is wide open because the hitch, go to instant replay here, pulls inside not only the hard flat, but also the cloud flat. You could see how wide open the crosser, or the slant in this case, becomes. So that's the hitch crosser concept. It's super effective, and I highly recommend you use it in the red zone. The last concept is the wheel flat. So let's just ignore really a lot of the people here. You can even do something like this. You can have a hitch crosser going one way, and then we can have wheel flat going the other. But the way to run this is to have a wheel route on your running back and a flat route on a slot receiver, or you can even, if they're an outside receiver, you can put them on an out route. Just something to pull the hard flats in whatever defense they're in outside. And what's usually going to happen here is that the flat is going to be pulled outside, leaving room to throw the wheel route for an easy dot and often a touchdown, right? And as I mentioned, this usually opens up the opportunity to have a hitch crosser on the other side. It's really easy to combine it with our other red zone concepts. And depending if you're in tight, you can mix this in with Zig Flat. So suddenly you have this pretty much unstoppable red zone concept. But it's actually really unique. There's something else you can do that's similar to the Zig Flat. Remember when I said, cover 4 drop shaded outside underneath is something people do a lot of, right? And the hook curls do a good job at guarding the wide side of the field, but they don't do a good job at guarding the short side. So if I try to set this up pretty much the exact same way as before, right? We can even let the cheat motion go, doesn't really matter. Even the hook curl in this case will not be able to guard the wheel route when it's aligned on the short side of the field. just like with the Zig Flat. So just like that, those are 3 pretty insane route concepts that you can use and combine to make sure you score when you get into the red zone. You now have all the tools to create your own offense that will help you win way more games online. And since you stayed until the end of the video, I'm going to let you in on the best kept secret in the football gaming community, my second YouTube channel, where you'll get early access to main channel tips and see them in action against other pro players. So I highly recommend you check it out.